So this morning, I'm going to start working on trying to remove this antenna wire and the antenna attachment itself from my junk truck to install in my 97, because this part of the tip that is kind of looks like it's pressed on there has come off, the one on mine. And finally, it was always loose from the day I bought it, but it finally broke the last time I went to install my new radio. So having an HD radio in the truck doesn't really help a whole heck of a lot if you don't have an antenna. And so that's what we're going to try to do. It goes in back here, and this one dives down. I really don't know where it goes. And then obviously it makes its way around somewhere back there and out there. In order to try to facilitate that, we're going to start out with a 7mm and 8mm and a trim stick, and try to get some of this stuff off. Interestingly, this 03 does not have the airbag disable that my 97 does, which is interesting. And you can see that dives down in there into where the hoses go for all of the vacuum lines for the climate control. So we're going to have to follow that down. This thing is stuck. Let's see if we can get it out of there. There we go. Probably not how that's supposed to come out, but maybe we can get, oh, I see it. We got it. There it is right there. All right, and I see that it has a little attachment point here. Maybe we can pop that off. Yep. Let's see if we can wheedle that down through there. Kind of carefully, because I'd hate to break it before I get it out. Alright, so now we've got that free, and it's still going down. There it is. I can kind of feel it in the back here behind all of this stuff, but I'm not sure if it is going to be accessible up under here. Well, maybe that's it. I feel a wire right up here, but it's hard to tell. I think that's attached again somewhere else down there. I'm really hoping that I don't have to pull this whole dash, because that's the last thing I want to do. I think that I can get it into my truck successfully without having to do that, but I really don't want to pull this dash if I don't have to. Now the glove box is pretty simple on these. I think it's a 7. Yeah. For these, they're less complex than the 97. The 97 has a system in here with 2 coil springs that holds it up, and once you get it off, it is nigh on impossible to get it back without breaking things. I managed to the other day, but I really don't want to take that glove box off again on the 97. This one is much simpler because it doesn't have those springs. Okay. This front cover looks like it's held on with a couple of pop tabs, which I'll need a different trim stick for. Be right back. There we go. That's all ductwork. There's just a lot of stuff going on back here. Okay, I can feel it. I think that wire I feel, yeah, that is it. I can move it just a little bit. Seems like it's right up behind all of this. Whew, that's gonna be something. I think this is it as well over here, which is actually good, because if I can figure out how to unisolate it from here or to here, then I can get it out. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna need two hands. I'm gonna try to work that down through and get it out over here, and then maybe it can pull out underneath some of this stuff without damaging it too much. So that's what we're gonna try to do, but I'm gonna need two hands for it. Okay, well that was easier than I'd hoped. I was able to snake the end just through there and pull it down really easily through this hole, and now I've got it. But what I don't know is what it's attached to up in here. That worries me a little bit, because there are some brackets like this metal one here that it appears to be behind potentially, and there's not a lot of good, it feels like pushing on it, it doesn't feel free. I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna try to, yeah, it's, let's see if we can snake this baby out of there. Now, it's definitely got some attachment points back there. So, I'm going to attempt to pull some of this dash apart and see if I can't get this under here to see if this cross bracket where the glove box was mounted is removable. I'm kind of hoping it is, and I'm kind of hoping it's not all the way across. Hard to tell. I don't think it is, but if that can come out easily, that will make this a bit easier. And I see that I have, you know, some 7mm around here holding this in. I know there's a 3 8mm holding the airbag in, 2 from underneath, and 1 up here. You remove this piece for it, and I'll be doing that soon, I'm sure, and I'll show you that. But for right now, I'm going to see if I can get this apart somehow without destroying it, and go from there. Okay, here's one of the attachment points right there, and ooh, I think I see another one right there. Maybe I can pop that out. Maybe we can do this without completely trashing this poor thing. I gotta go get a screwdriver to push that the rest of the way through, and I think that might be the only thing holding it in. And then I might have a couple of screws around here to take off, and I may be able to snake it around this little bracket and get it out. And then we can figure out where it goes through that hole there. And I remember seeing that in the other truck. So Now I just got to figure out how to get this wire out. Be right back. Okay, I used a screwdriver. And now the whole wire is free. It's just captured in this area here where these 7mm screws are. That one's a little bigger even. Okay. So that one held the dash on, but it's still behind this metal piece back there. So it looks like I gotta go get a 9 or a 10, and maybe I can get this off here with these screws and get that thing out from around it. Okay, so these were 10s. After getting that out of the way, that loosened this up enough where I was able to work this thing back through, and now it's disconnected. So, up front anyway. Now, as you can see, it goes somewhere through there. Through a nice little grommet. Let's see if she'll come out. And she does. And it feels fairly loose in there, but I don't know where that goes from there. If the hole up here is big enough, however all this garbage comes off, it may pull straight out. The problem you have there is, how do you get the new one back in? I guess what I could do then is tie a string, pull the old one up a little bit, tie a string to it, cut it off, pull it back through so I have my string going into the inside, and then go from there. Or vice versa. Now, there's no way this, unless this is attached internally. Let's see if we can get that off to find out what our next step's going to be. I'm not quite sure how this comes off. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, 3 Phillips. Well, obviously that is not going through the fender. So, what are the odds on those Phillips actually coming out? Let's find out. Shall we? Okay. Getting hot already. Oh. Well, that was unexpected. Watch the last one fight me. Nope. Hey. Hot dog. Yeah, that's a kind of a monolithic piece, so you're not getting there from here. And weirdly, that wire feels like it goes forwards before it goes back. So I'm gonna play with that a little bit and see what we got. Okay, so it's free-ish. If I pull on it down here, I can feel it up at the top, but it's not a straight shot at all. So, God, I really don't want to have to pull that fender off to figure this out. We're gonna open the hood and take a look at what we can see. So looking in here, it may not be easy to see, but it does go forwards, and you really lose it at that point. But it may be possible to pull this inner fender liner out and get at it. And those look to be really small screws, except for that one, which is broken. So I'm gonna go find, shoot, I don't know if that's a, I don't know what that is, but we're gonna go find whatever that is, try to get this inner fender well out and see if that gives me some access. For what it's worth, on the 03s anyway, those fender liner screws are 7/32. There may be like a 4mm metric or something like that, but the 7/32 fits perfect. So now we're going to use my sticks, pop the pins that are on it, and see if we can get that off of there. Done. Now there's a pin up top, there's a wire right here that's connected to it, and then there's 2 or 3 or 4 of them up front holding it in that you got to pop out. But what that gets me to is right there. Little tiny clip holding that wire in. And there we go. So that grommet's going to have to get forced through that hole in this direction. And then it won't be so bad. So the fender liner definitely has to come out. Otherwise, you probably can't do this. But that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to pop that baby off. See if we can push that grommet through that hole, which I'm betting we can. And then the antenna should be out. Cool. And there she is. The only interesting other part was getting that grommet, which what makes it difficult is it's crimped onto the cable, I guess, to really seal it from water because it's in the fender well, is getting that grommet through the fender hole, because it's not quite the size, but I was able to kind of pull on it and then pry on it a bit with my trim sticks and get it through without tearing it up. So that's good. So now that we have that, we're ready at some point to try to put this baby into the other truck. So there you go. That's how you remove the antenna on well, this one's an 03, but I would say most of the 97 to 03 and maybe even after F-150s, probably Explorers, or maybe not Explorers, but certainly the Expeditions, probably the Excursions, all going to be about the same. So there you go. Not too bad. You need a 7mm, a 10mm, 7/32 to get the fender liner out, a couple of trim sticks, and a little bit of finagling, and you can get her out. So that wasn't working so well. That was the main issue with the one in the 97 here, which has now been replaced, and the install is really identical to the removal, just backwards. Get your fender liner off, get up in there, get this baby out, then squeeze everything back through here, run it up in there through your little clip that was up there, push the rubber through the hole, plug it back in, and then just reroute your line up into here. And now,
and then the other 3 days during the week she'll go and she'll swim.
We have antenna, and the rest of it was identical because that is the base from the 03. The black part is the cover from the 97, and then the antenna is the antenna from the 97. So these are identical throughout this whole range. Even where they're connected underneath the dash is all identical. Nothing too major there. One thing I will say is to get this thing out, pull it all the way up against the stops, and in here on this side and this side there's a couple of little tabs. If you get in there with a little screwdriver or one of your trim sticks and push down on them, they'll disengage and this thing slides right out without breaking it. And then you can get her back together. So that's about the only interesting thing I found. You don't need to remove the glove box to do this. You do need to pop this piece off, but that's just those two little pop pins. And that's about it. So there you go. That's the removal. And then if you run the tape in reverse, the installation of an antenna on a late 90s, early 2000s Ford, and they're probably all just about identical. So, hope everything's going well wherever y'all are. Hope y'all are having a good day. So, take care.